Hey everybody, Counthammer VHS here with just a quick video. This is from my current Tharbad campaign, which is ongoing. What I've done here is I've actually gone back to a prior save. This may be a little confusing for me as well as for you because I've played ahead in the campaign, right? So I've already recorded episode 3. That'll be out pretty soon. But what I wanted to do was to go back to the end of, I guess it's the end of episode 2, where I am here, where I have just conquered Sarn Ford and we've just queued up provincial pacification. And the reason I'm going to this point is because, as Webba reminded me, he's been following along apparently with the videos here. He wanted me to take a look at the trade summary screen, or the trade details screen in Sarn Ford specifically. And you may remember that I looked at the settlement, the province details screen at the end of that episode 2 to just sort of get a sense of how much money I was going to make, but I didn't really explore it, and that's because a lot of these buttons here are just things I don't use very much. Like this is the view the settlement on the battle map, a very cool feature that I don't think has been seen in any Total War game since, where you can just get a peaceful view of the settlement and just move your camera around and watch the peasants and just the common folk go about their lives. You've also got the set the province's settlement as a capital button, which I do use quite a bit. And then we've got this, the trade summary scroll for this province. And so let's just look at the trade overall. We'll compare that to the trade in a couple of other provinces, and then we'll dig in a little bit deeper to the details, because I think there is some interesting stuff here. I just forget that this button exists a lot of the time. So Sarn Ford, freshly captured with really no upkeep, is making us 574 trade tariff. That's, I think, quite high. And let's just go to some other settlements. Three Ways, of course, is making a ton, right? Because this is a big intersection between lots of other places. If we go to Tharbad, that's making a decent amount as well, 968. But with Sarn Ford, with no trader, and very, like, practically no upgrades at all, we're already making more than half Tharbad, which is our capital, which has a merchant's quarter, which has a haven, which is doing trade, right? So there's a lot of factors in play that don't exist if we go to Sarn Ford. We've got, I don't think anything here is affecting trade in terms of buildings. Grazing grounds, that's not doing anything. This is just the sort of tips and background for the faction. The Lord's Palace doesn't do anything. Now, some of these buildings could, I guess, theoretically have hidden effect lines that I'm just not seeing, but that's really not it. Let's go to the, let's see what else we have here. Greyholm, in terms of trade, I think this is probably doing pretty well. Actually, it's less. So Greyholm is a province, a settlement that we own that is obviously trading with us. We're trading with the fort. We're also trading at this point with Dunland. We've got a trade agreement. We're not only neutral to them, but we do have trade rights. And yet we're making less in Greyholm, which has a market. Let's see, does Dominion do anything? Yeah, Homeland Dominion is established in Greyholm. That's giving us a bonus to trade goods. Anything else? Nope, nothing else currently, but roads. We've got roads built there, and again, none of that is in play in Sarn Ford. We don't have any roads. We've got nothing. So let's dig in and see what is driving this. The trade summary scroll for Sarn Ford gives us a pretty explicit breakdown of what's going on here, and I find this very, very interesting. This is something I have not really taken into that much account in my strategy for the campaign. So this is land trade only. We don't have any sea routes. We can contrast this with, I think it'll change. Yeah, so if we go to Three Ways, we also don't have any sea trade currently out of Three Ways. Well, we can't because it's landlocked. But in, let's see, Tharbad itself, we do have some exports. And this is not playing as large a role as I would have thought. We're trading with Hollowbold. These are the dwarves. Now, I don't think in this part of the campaign, I don't think we have trade rights established with the dwarves. No, we don't. We're neutral, no trade rights. So Tharbad, however, is trading because they're a neutral partner. What trade rights does is, I believe, triples the income of ports or land trade with a trade partner that you have when you get trade rights with them. So this would go up to like 150 or something, right? Londair, well, this is one we own, so this is not actually going to increase if we get trade rights with anybody. This is as good as it's going to get. But sea trade can be very nice. Still, that is dwarfed by the trading that we are doing in Sarn Ford. Well, this doesn't matter. This is just a sort of a throwaway save anyway. So, Sarn Ford. Mythland. We're trading with Mythland the Elves because we border the Elves. No trade rights with the Elves yet, by the way, but we're making 41. So that's going to triple. In the next episode, you'll see I get trade rights, episode 3, with the Elves and the Dwarves. So this is going to go up to like 120, right? Undertowers. This is a Shire province, so this is already taking our trade rights with them into account. So this is not going to get any better, but we're trading with Undertowers to the tune of 87. We are exporting our livestock to them. The land trade works a little weird because it's not broken down as in terms of what you're exporting versus what you're importing. It's just all kind of considered, and so there's not a difference. I think exporting trade by sea is a lot more lucrative than importing the same goods by sea, but with land it just doesn't matter. Okay, so with Mythland, what this tells us is that we are importing timber and fish from Sarn Ford. I think the only trade resource we have is livestock at Sarn Ford. Three Ways. We're importing iron from Three Ways. That's 71, pretty good. Hollow Bold, we are, I guess we're importing iron from the mountains there. We're importing stone, and we're giving them our livestock. Now, two of these things, well, actually, I guess all three of these things are going to triple when we get trade rights with the dwarves. That's going to get it up to 180 or so. Pretty decent. Still not nearly as good as this. 310 from Mickle Delving. Now, what's driving that? It's not the stone and it's not the livestock because, these are things that are taken into account elsewhere. It's the pipeweed. So we have trade rights with the hobbits currently, and so the pipeweed is already tripled, right? Like this is as good as it's going to get for now until we build up. But I just had no idea that this was so good, even if you didn't control the resource. So that's what is really surprising to me about this. Trade with the Shire, or any region that has this incredibly valuable resource, is very lucrative. Of course it is. I'm an idiot. Why did I not think that this would be so good? I guess I was thinking that in order to really benefit from trade, you had to own the resource yourself. But that wouldn't really actually make that much of a difference. Because the imports and exports, it doesn't matter, right? Like, I don't think pipeweed is going to be more valuable to me if I own it. I think we're getting the same benefit from importing it as we are from exporting it. But now that I'm curious, Three Ways, yes, we're trading with Bree. So a big chunk of why Three Ways' trade is overall so high is, again, down to this pipeweed. However, another interesting factor here is iron. We've got the iron in the region, and so we are exporting that everywhere. So 144 trading that with ourselves at Sarn Ford. Trade this, think about this being traded with a faction that we have trade rights with, right? And that would be tripled, like, for example, actually, Northgard Ford is one we already own. Why is this so high then? My gosh, 448? Is livestock that good? That doesn't seem right. Maybe that's I'm wondering is it because we just captured Sarn Ford? And no, all this stuff is currently taken into account. Regardless, these are very high numbers. So iron, I remember Webba saying getting iron is good. Going to Three Ways is good because you get iron. And so I've had it in the back of my mind, for years, ever since, we were talking about this faction and how to best play it. But I never really looked at the details and saw like all these little things really add up. So that is really a remarkable number. Let's see. Compare this with, Tharbad itself looks pretty lame in comparison, right? 968. Again, that's more than we're doing in Sarn Ford now with no upgrades. But again, Tharbad already is upgraded to the level of the Merchant's Quarter, to the level of the Haven. I don't think the Herbalist adds trade. No, it doesn't. But we will be doing other things that increase trade. Actually, the Construction Charter won't, but we'll be upgrading the Merchant's House potentially at some point if this isn't already maxed, which it may be. And crop rotation farms are going to increase trade. So actually, this is playing a role as well. So Tharbad has all of these advantages, and it's still not even double the advantages of the dirt poor Sarn Ford, which is pulling in already, more than half of one of our most our most advanced settlement. So Tharbad again, the settlement details here. What have we got? We've got fish and timber, and that's it. And as you can see, these numbers are just really pretty low. Southgard Fort is making a little bit of money. We've got some upgrades with the local trader buildings, so that helps a small amount. But in Greyholm, again, the numbers here are just not very impressive. 431 in Greyholm, and these numbers are, by the way, not going to get that much better because we're already trading with Dunland. There's just not many other things that we can do about this. Greyholm does not have a port as such. It does have like something of a fishing village here, as you can see. Fishing village of the City Kingdom of Tharbad. This is in the province of Northern Enedwaith, which is where Greyholm is located, right? But this is not like a port. It's like the very lowest level of a port. This is what you have to have if you've got a province which has a border on the sea. You're going to see something like this. And, in the basic game, Rome Total War Vanilla, you can, immediately build at least a basic port here. But not so in this mod because, well, I can't remember why exactly. There are some places where I think the idea was we didn't want to have them become trade powerhouses just because they happened to be on a coastline. Like, Greyholm, you could argue, should be something of a backwater, maybe. And certainly like these places, it would be weird if all of a sudden you captured Vornhallen and because it was on the coast, you could make tons of cash. So maybe that's the thinking, to sort of artificially keep things low. But yeah, 431. And again, we can upgrade some buildings here. We can certainly, get better farms. We can get traders going. But this is not going to be that great. Our resources are kind of limiting us here. So anyway, yeah, we're going back to Tharbad. Let's go to Sarn Ford again, just to bask in that. I thought that was interesting, that 574 in trade tariffs, and really a lot of that's pipeweed. So my initial plan was, and I'm going to talk about this. You're going to see me talking about it in episode 3 about wanting to capture Brie because it's got pipeweed. This is one of only 2 provinces on the map that own that resource. The other one is, of course, here, the Shire province itself. And my thought was, well, for me to really take advantage of that pipeweed, I'm going to have to own Brie. But actually, maybe not, right? Maybe just having this access to the trade is really good. And this is just something that I hadn't really appreciated as much as I ought to have. So I hope that provides a bit of insight for you. It was interesting to me. Webba, watching the last episode, was wondering why I didn't dig into the details of the trade, and so I forgot that it existed. That's the reason there. And but boy, am I glad I checked it out. So anyway, look for the next episode in a little bit, and I'll see you then. Take care, everybody.